Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Sodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Sodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari 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 Jai Vishmad Paramahams Prabhu Jakajai Ashtasa Shri Shimad His Divine Grace Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Gaura Vaishnava ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prayam Zagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Giradhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopalya Samakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Vrindavandam ki jai, Shri Maya Purnavidam ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Go Premanandi. All glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this evening we'll read from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, the universal form, text number 55. It's a very long purport, so let's see how far we get. It's a nice, amazing verse. Mad karma krin mad parama, mad bhakta sangavarjitaha, nirvaira sarvabhutesu, yasamam iti bandhavaha. Go ahead. Mad karma krin mad parama, mad bhakta sangavarjitaha, nirvaira sarvabhutesu, yasamam iti pandavaha. Mad karma krit, engaged in doing my work. Mat parama, considering me the supreme. Mad bhakta, engaged in my devotional service. Sangavarjita, freed from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation. Nirvaira, without an enemy. Sarvabhutesu, among all living entities. Ya, one who. Sa, he. Mam, unto me. Eti, comes. Pandava, O son of Pandu. Translation and purport. Bhagavad Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, as he certainly comes to me. Purport. Anyone who wants to approach the supreme of all the personalities of Godhead on the Krishna Loka planet, in the spiritual sky, and be intimately connected with the Supreme Personality, Krishna, must take this formula, as stated by the Supreme Himself. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Very interesting, huh? You wouldn't think that this chapter is the universal form of the love of the Lord, but this verse, it's very important. So the first thing he says is that karmakam, one who works for me. So in the material world, everybody is working, doing. Of course, now people's work is kind of limited, but in general, people that are working so hard every day. But Krishna says, "Work for me." So, of course, that means that some of the fruits should go to Krishna. Generally, people working, and they want all the fruits for themselves. But devotees of the Lord, they're working, but they're working to please Krishna. Yoga yukta vashudhatma vijitatma jitanya sarvutatma bhutatma korvanapi nirvite. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Nice verse, Bhagavad Gita. So the idea is we have to somehow work with devotion for Krishna. Of course, we're born in this world with a fruitive mentality, and therefore Prabhupada said that this desire to enjoy the fruits of one's activities goes very deep in the heart. Two things Prabhupada said goes very deep in the heart. The desire to enjoy the fruits of one's activities and the sex desire. So, to be free of that desire to enjoy the fruits of one's activities, it's something we have to also pray for this desire to work for Krishna with devotion for him. There's another a verse similar. Yet kroshi yet asnashni, yet jehosi dasya, yet pashyasi kontya tat krusam adarpam. Prabhupada said this verse is the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. All that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you perform, that should be done as an offering to me. So all that we do should be done for Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashtashi, that's in the, no, that's, I forgot what it, but very important. All that we do, all that we eat. It's like we're all eating, but we eat only Krishna prasadam. Krishna pulled a good one on me one time. 927. Before I joined, I was a little cynical about religion. I grew up a Christian, but I kind of became a little disillusioned and became a little bit an atheistic and became a little cynical about religion. So if someone would offer something to me, I don't know, like a banana or something, or I don't know, a Coke, or I'd say no, it's against my religion. Yeah. Like a joke, yeah. And they would say, like, really? No, I'm just joking. But now I can't eat anything if it's not offered to Krishna. And even then, so many things, like we go into a supermarket now, so many things that we used to eat there, but we can't eat it now because it's against our religion. To eat anything that's not offered to Krishna, it's against our religion. We won't do it. And that saved us in many. Actually, I was just reading in this book about Vishnu Jana and Jayananda Prabhu, and they were at a park up in Los Angeles, and there was a big festival, and devotees were there chanting, and some of the people that went there were hippies, and they had many hits of acid. And they put hits of acid in everyone's orange juice, and they passed around these cups of orange juice. You heard about that? All over the festival there, and the only ones that didn't take the orange juice were the devotees. So everybody was completely, spaced out, high on acid, except for the devotees. So we were saved in that circumstance. So yeah, we only eat things that are offered to Krishna. We don't even eat the things that are cooked by non-devotees. Prabhupada says in a purport somewhere that if we eat food which is prepared by non-devotees, our heart becomes wicked because the consciousness is there. And also, who knows what's going in there with the karmis? They just do so many crazy, put so many things in the preparations they make. So devotees will only honor things that were prepared by devotees, because when devotees are cooking, they're doing it for Krishna. When they're preparing food stuff, they're preparing it for Krishna, and therefore especially, of course, for the deities, they have to be Brahmins. They have to be Brahmanas to cook for the deities. Higher understanding of what actually is going on here. It's an offering to Krishna. And so many things that we're doing for Krishna, it should be an offering to Krishna, just like we're distributing books all around the world when we don't have the lockdown. And this is another offering to Krishna. And you're gardening also, that's an offering to Krishna. These things are growing, you're going to offer them to Krishna. So, and there's managers in our society. This is also, it's an offering to Krishna. Everything that we're doing, it's an offering to Krishna for his pleasure. And sometimes there's some success. It's like sometimes book distributors, they have great success. But Narada Muni, he says, Mahadbir bhakti nisthaistan esthadineti manyate. Devotees of the Lord do not think that the services they do are actions under their own control, but they are expressions of Krishna's supreme mercy. Beautiful verse by Narada Muni. This is in the Bhagavatamrita. That devotees don't think that it's their ability. Yeah. Krishna is the ability in man, so a devotee doesn't think that it was my doing, but it's Krishna's mercy. So it's nice to have that mentality when we're doing things. It's all the mercy of Krishna. So carrying on with this purport, the Bhagavad Gita is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over material nature, and who do not know of the real spiritual life. The Bhagavad Gita is meant to show how one can understand his spiritual existence and his eternal relationship with the Supreme Spiritual Personality, and to teach one how to go back home, back to Godhead. Now here is the verse which clearly explains the process by which one can attain success in a spiritual activity, devotional service. As far as work is concerned, one should transfer his energy entirely to Krishna conscious activities, as stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anashaktasya visayan yataham upayunjita nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. No work should be done by any man except in relationship to Krishna. This is called Krishna karma. It's like there was one instance where the Sankirtan leader was speaking to Prabhupada. And he said, Prabhupada, sometimes the Sankirtan devotees, they think this is, there's too much anxiety. You know, approaching people, trying to convince them to take a book they never heard of, and then, you know, getting Lakshmi out of them. It's just too much anxiety. And then Prabhupada said, no. This is Krishna anxiety. Yeah. Just like he said, Mother Yasoda, she was in anxiety about Krishna going out into the forest. You know, she's concerned about him. And the gopis, you know, it's described that the gopis, they would put Krishna's feet on their breasts, and they were thinking they were too hard. But then they would see Krishna going out into the forest barefoot, and it just caused so much pain. Prabhupada said that they would faint. So much anxiety that Krishna's lotus feet, his beautiful, soft lotus feet, are walking on the hard ground with pebbles and thorns, and just thinking of that, they would faint. So it's Krishna anxiety, Krishna karma. So Krishna anxiety is good, because this is this helps us to grow in spiritual life. We should be in anxiety. The people are suffering all over the world, and we have the cure. for their suffering, to hear about Krishna. And people hear about Krishna and they develop divine qualities eventually. They get purified. Just like so many people have joined this movement and become very purified. There was one person I remember in Los Angeles. This person was extremely spaced out, eccentric. I mean, just everything about him was just extraordinary. And I was thinking, if this person becomes a devotee, I'll be shocked. I'll know this process really works if he becomes a devotee. So this was years ago. So, sure enough, he became a good devotee. He became a brahmana. He got initiated, became a brahmana, doing service in Vrindavan. Book distributor. Turned out to be a very nice devotee. And even made his mother a devotee. And she's a brahmana now. So I was thinking, wow, this process really works. There was one instance where a devotee, this is back in Boston in the 70s, maybe late 60s. There was one person, he was, it would take him 8 hours to chant his japa. And he would just lay around the hallway. He wouldn't do any service. So Satsvarup Maharaj, the temple president, wrote Prabhupada, we have this person, he's living here in the temple. It takes him 8 hours to chant his japa, and he's just laying around the hall. He doesn't do any service. What should we do? So Prabhupada said, it's very easy to send someone away. But it takes some austerity, some sincerity to make someone a devotee. Be patient. Make him a devotee. They said, okay. Huh? That was in Boston. Prabhupada's in India or something. So, Giriraj Brahmachari at the time, he lived there at that time also. And later he went to India, went to Bombay. And many years later, about 20 years later, Giriraj Maharaj, he's in the Los Angeles temple, and he sees this person that was so spaced out in Boston 20 years later. And he asked the president, Srivastava, what's his name? Oh, his name is Kusakrata. And Kusakrata, he translated so many books. He became a Sanskrit scholar, one of the major Sanskrit scholars in ISKCON. So Giriraj Maharaj, he was shocked that he had became, and he knew of this name Kusakrata, but he didn't know it was the same person that was so spaced out. So this process works. And Prabhupada wanted us to make as many devotees as we can, to help them, to help the society, help people understand what's the right thing to do, what's wrong. We didn't know what's right, what's wrong, what's the purpose of life. I didn't have a clue. So we're getting so much guidance from Krishna, from Srila Prabhupada, in the absolute truth. Just like here, also it said, that one who understands me to be the Supreme. We didn't have a clue who the Supreme was. We had some vague idea. There's a God, but who that God is, or how to serve Him, everything is very... Does He do anything in the spiritual world? It's like many devotees had told me that they would ask their priest, so what does God do? What do we do in the spirit, in the kingdom of God? Oh, you find that out later. No answer. But in our books, we have so much information about what Krishna does. There's a name for Krishna. Kauchiki means Krishna, he has the best sense of humor. God has a sense of humor. Who would have thought God has a sense of humor? But he's the funniest person in all of creation. He's got the best sense of humor. Just like throughout the world there's so many comedians. Where do they get their ideas from? Krishna. They all come from Krishna. So he's got an incredible sense of humor. Everybody likes to be around a person with a sense of humor, like to laugh. So in the spiritual world, it's like one devotee told me when he was traveling with Prabhupada. Prabhupada had them laughing all the time. He had an incredible sense of humor. So where's that coming from? Krishna's got an incredible sense of humor. When we go back to the spiritual world, we're probably going to be laughing all the time. Krishna's got this amazing sense of humor. Something to look forward to. So he's the supreme person. And it's not that he's he's on some ego trip, I'm the supreme person. No, he's also very humble. It's like at the Rajasuya sacrifice, so many personalities are doing different things. Like Bhima, he was in charge of the kitchen. And Karna, he was in charge of giving contributions. And remember what Krishna was doing? He was washing everyone's feet. Everyone that came, even people who thought of him as an enemy, of course, Krishna never thought of anyone as an enemy. He was washing their feet. This is God. He's washing everybody's feet. That's pretty humble. And Yudhisthira, when he would see Yudhisthira after a long time, he would get down to pay obeisances to Yudhisthira because he's the older cousin. There was etiquette. He followed etiquette. And he would serve his mother and father. So God, Krishna, he's the supreme personality of Godhead. Everybody's worshipping him, but he's humble. Amazing. But he's supreme. So, of course, in the beginning, we have to come to that firm understanding that he's supreme. Because previously, because of the false ego, this, as it said, Shakespeare, he says in one of his stanzas that the whole world is a stage and everyone is thinking that I'm the main actor in the stage. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. But this is the idea. Everybody's, because of this ego, we have this idea that I'm such a big person, this false ego. It puffs us up, I'm a big person, but we're very small. We're so small that we can't even be seen. I can't even see you. Even with the most powerful microscope, we can't be seen. That's how small we are. But we get these bodies and we get this ego and we think we're something big. But we're so small, we can't even be seen. But Krishna, he's the supreme. And then Krishna goes on to say that one who engages in my devotional service. So this is the goal. Not just to engage in service, but to somehow get this devotion out. It's already there, actually. Just like within wood, there's fire coming from the sun. And you put a match to the wood and the fire comes out. Naturally. But if the wood is soaked, if it's waterlogged, can you light the wood then? Actually, you can. But the fire has to be under the wood a long time. And eventually, all the moisture is removed from the wood, and then the fire comes out. So we're kind of like waterlogged souls. So we're trying to get this devotion out so that we can please Krishna with our service. But because of our conditioned nature and selfishness and all this is there, but as I just read recently, we have to hear and chant the glories of Krishna for a long time. And gradually we get purified. Gradually this fire of devotion to Krishna, it comes out. So then he goes on to say, Nirvaira Sarvabhuteshu, he's a friend to all living entities. This is a devotee. It's a friend. Not only to human beings. It's like there's a pastime of Prabhupada in Hawaii. There was a devotee that was cleaning his room, and there was an unusual bug on the table. And he had never seen such an unusual looking bug. And he said, Prabhupada, look at this unusual looking bug here. So Prabhupada came down, he's looking at the bug, and yeah, very unusual. Now chant to the poor thing, because he saw it as a soul. He didn't see it as a bug, but he saw it as a soul stuck in this unusual bug body. So he wanted to benefit the soul. So Prabhupada is a friend. It's like one of my favorite pastimes of Prabhupada was, this is also related to Giriraj Swami. He was in Boston, and Prabhupada was in India, and he sent for all the temples to send one good person from each temple, because he's going to start his preaching in India. So Giriraj Brahmachari at the time was sent there, and he was the only son of a very wealthy man. Now that he had become a Hare Krishna, that was already a strain for his parents. Now he's in India, so that was just too much. They flew to India. They notified Giriraj that they're coming, so he picked him up at the airport. And immediately the father is trying to convince him to go back to America. Like, how could you stay here in India, third world country? Come on, they go back. No, I want to stay here. And so he could see he's going to need some. He's going to have to figure out some other way. So he said, "We can arrange a meeting with your spiritual master. I'd like to speak to him." Yeah, okay. So he arranged a meeting with his parents to meet Prabhupada. So parents were there, Giriraj, the servant of Prabhupada was there, and Prabhupada. And the father said, this disciple of yours, he's our only son, and my wife and myself, we're very attached to him. Can you send him back to America? And Prabhupada looked at Giriraj and said, you want to go back to America? No, Prabhupada, I want to stay here with you. And Prabhupada said, what do you want me to do? You want me to force him, do you? It's just saying that a man forced against his will is of the same opinion still. So they said, no, we don't want to. We don't want you to force him. So then Prabhupada said, well, listen, Giriraj, why don't you go and spend some time with them in the foothills of the Himalayas, Rishikesh. And there's nice hotels there, resorts. Go spend a week with them. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can do that. So the parents are very happy. They can go and spend a week with their son in the foothills of the Himalayas. I think Haridwar, actually. So they went there and had a good time, associating with their son. They went back to Bombay, and then Giriraj wanted them to spend some more time with Prabhupada, just get some association, some purification. So they spent about an hour with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada didn't preach. There's that verse, Anudvegam Karan Vakyam. The austerity of speech is to speak that which is not agitating to others. To speak that which is truthful, to speak that which is pleasing, to speak that which is beneficial, and to always be repeating the Vedic literature. So preaching doesn't mean just speaking the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, but it's also knowing what not to say. So he was just befriending them, just joking and being friends with them. Prabhupada's very down to earth also. He's there in the spiritual world, but he's also. So they had a good time. They were laughing, and then they left, and the servant said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you amaze me. Everyone loves you so much. And Prabhupada said, that's because I love everyone so much. So that's Prabhupada. Not only is he a friend towards everyone, he loves everyone. He just wanted everyone to hear about Krishna. And therefore he emphasized so much Two things: Harinam and book distribution. People can hear the holy name. People can hear the philosophy. So it's just an ocean of compassion of Srila Prabhupada. So Krishna says that anybody who has this mentality, certainly he comes to me. He goes back to Godhead. So this is, and therefore Prabhupada says this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. So continuing with the purport. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the results of his work. The result should be done only for him. For example, one may be engaged in business, but to transform that activity into Krishna consciousness, one has to do business for Krishna. If Krishna is the proprietor of the business, then Krishna should enjoy the profit of the business. If a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all this to Krishna, he can do it. This is work for Krishna. Instead of constructing a big building for his sense gratification, he can construct a nice temple for Krishna, and he can install the deity of Krishna and arrange for the deity's service, as is outlined in the authorized books of devotional service. This is all Krishna karma, acting for Krishna. One should not be attached to the results of his work, but the result should be offered to Krishna, and one should accept as prasadam the remnants of offerings to Krishna. If one constructs a very big building for Krishna and installs the deity of Krishna, one is not prohibited from living there, but it is understood that the proprietor of the building is Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. If, however, one is not able to construct a temple for Krishna, one can engage himself in cleansing the temple of Krishna. That is also Krishna karma. One can cultivate a garden. Anyone who has land, in India at least, any poor man has a certain amount of land, can utilize that for Krishna by growing flowers to offer him. One can sow tulsi plants, because tulsi leaves are very important, and Krishna has recommended this in Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam polam toyam. Krishna desires that one offer either a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or a little water, and by such an offering he is satisfied. It's amazing, huh? Here's God. He's the proprietor of everything, all the universe, all the planets, everything. He's the wealthiest person. But if someone offers to him a leaf, some vegetable, a flower, fruit, a little water, then he's pleased. Amazing. So what Krishna is now in this verse, it's interesting, is twice devotion is there. If one offers to me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water. See, this is the main ingredient. This is what makes prasadam so attractive, because the devotion is there. If the devotion isn't there, just like there's that amazing pastime, Krishna, he's so humble. Before the battle of Kurukshetra, he was asked by Yudhisthira to go to Duryodhana and try to, mediate. He was the original mediator. So just try to mediate. Maybe, let's work it out. Let's try to avoid this war. So he went there. And Duryodhana had made a big feast for him, trying to get his favor. Krishna didn't take a bite. Not a bite. There's no devotion. And then they tried to capture him. But Krishna, what did he do? Universal form. So Duryodhana had told his servants, they capture him. But then he manifested this universal form. And they ran away, scared. We can't capture him. He's the Supreme Lord. He's God. Duryodhana said, nah, he's not God. Come on. He's done some austerities in the past. He's got some mystic abilities. That's Duryodhana, he was the personification of Kali Yuga. He began Kali Yuga, Duryodhana. So what did Krishna do then? He left and he went to Vidura's home. And there, I believe either his wife or him, they were going to offer him a banana, but they were in such ecstasy, they offered a banana peel. But it was offered with such devotion, Krishna ate the banana peel, and it was ecstatic. So this is Krishna. It's the devotion that attracts him more than anything else. So therefore we're praying, when we're chanting Hare Krishna, we're praying for this devotion, this devotional service. And this will attract Krishna. And then whatever we do, Krishna he'll accept. Krishna desires that one offer him either a leaf, or a flower, or a fruit, a little water, and by such an offering he is satisfied. This leaf especially refers to the tulsi. So one can sow tulsi and pour water on this plant. Thus, even the poorest man can engage in the service of Krishna. These are some of the examples of how one can engage in working for Krishna. The word matparma refers to one who considers the association of Krishna in his supreme abode to be the highest perfection of life. I was just reading that Goloka Vrindavan is so big, it's bigger than all the Vaikuntha planets put together. It's inconceivable. The Vaikuntha planets are big, and there's like practically unlimited. So that gives you an idea of how big Goloka Vrindavan is. And there's a difference. In Vaikuntha, there's awe and reverence to Krishna, or to Vishnu. Whereas in Goloka Vrindavan, there's the more familiar relationships, friendship and conjugal and parental relationships in Goloka. So that's the difference. And you can be elevated, actually. It can go from Vaikuntha to Goloka Vrindavan. Such a person does not wish to be elevated to the higher planets, such as the moon, or sun, or heavenly planets, or even the highest planet of the universe, Brahmaloka. He has no attraction for that. He is only attracted to being transferred to the spiritual sky. And even in the spiritual sky, he is not satisfied with merging into the glowing Brahmajyoti effulgence, for he wants to enter the highest spiritual planet, namely Krishnaloka, Goloka Vrindavan. He has full knowledge of that planet, and therefore he is not interested in any other. And one purport Prabhupada says, in the spiritual world, everything is animate. Everything moves. Everything sees. Everything speaks. Everything is personal. Everything. Just like there's the pastime of Krishna. He woke up early. He called his friends, playing the flute. So the friends came. But before the friends came, the peacocks, they were nearby, and they heard the flute, so they came and they were dancing in the courtyard. And the peacocks are good dancers, famous as being very good dancers. So they were dancing, and an audience came. The cowherd boys were watching, and then some of the gopis and the elder gopas and gopis came, and they were watching the peacocks dance. And of course they're hearing the beautiful flute Krishna's playing. So they're dancing and dancing, and Krishna's playing the flute. And then at one point Krishna, he goes into the middle, he goes into the courtyard, and he's dancing. And all the peacocks, they separated. They're watching. So Krishna's got an audience there. So he's dancing, he's playing the flute. And then at one point, the flute slips out of his hand, and it's hovering. But it's still playing, because it's a person. He doesn't need Krishna, he can play on his own. So now Krishna has two free hands, and now he's really dancing. And everybody's just so happy to see Krishna dancing, because Vrindavana Natabara, it's described in this song Yasomati Nandana, that Krishna, he's the best dancer in Vrindavan. Very good dancer. Yeah. People naturally like to dance. Everybody likes to dance. So Krishna, he is the best dancer. So Krishna's dancing and dancing, the flute's playing, and it's a concert. But then at one point Krishna, he stops, and the head of the peacocks comes, and he puts a peacock feather in Krishna's head. And Krishna said, you're the best dancer of Vrindavan, you should always have this peacock feather in your head. That's why he has a peacock feather. The head of the leader of the peacocks. Yeah. So he put the peacock feather. So Krishna, he's the best at everything. Therefore, there's a chapter, Wonderful Krishna, in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, any question? Is there anything there?
No, just cut this and someone named Ishan say harekrishna in the box. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.